So just kicking off, what do we mean by methods of youth work? So where does detached youth work sit in the whole sphere of youth work? And I often describe youth work, it's a bit like a dice. There are many sides, but different facets. So we have centre-based youth work, and these are informal settings. So youth clubs, youth drop-ins, that type of work where you do work around pool, table tennis, other activities, workshops, chatting. There'll be a tuck shop. Outreach. Now, outreach can sometimes be confused with detached youth work. And the difference is with outreach is about reaching out from an existing provision. So if you had a youth club or a youth drop-in, the outreach workers would come out of that project with a way to engage young people, to funnel them in to that centre-based project. And then there are mobile youth clubs. Often you see buses that have been kitted out, or a van, so youth work happens then. And sometimes these are specialist, so there could be a music provision, or in Torbay we've got a mobile radio that goes around that we connect with, where young people do radio recording and sound bites. Pop-up sessions. Again, these can be you can pop these up in the high street or where young people are hanging out. We've got pop-up hot chocolate stands at the moment, just reaching out to young people that might be hanging out and should actually be home during lockdown. And then there's detached youth work. So this is very much detached. It's very much away from some of the other projects that we've just mentioned, the other settings that I've just mentioned. And detached youth work can happen in cafes. I've done detached youth work in Costa. I've done it in cafes and shopping centres, and spaces where young people have chosen to be. So it's about going there and being and working with those young people where they are. There are other settings that I haven't mentioned. So there is schools work, and there's also more targeted work that might happen around mental health, domestic abuse or drug services or sexual health services. But detached youth work, that stuff can happen with that as well. So what is detached youth work? Detached youth work seeks to engage with and provide support to young people who are often described as disengaged with other services and or socially excluded. You'll see some pictures here. They are pictures of our actual work. So we own those, but just to give you kind of a flavour of what detached youth work might look like. And it is chatting to young people where they are, and young people often that might not go to other youth clubs, or young people that are outside on the streets. It's interesting working with detached youth work because you can connect with lots of different people in the community. The police often see a real value in it because they will describe the activities that you do as diversionary, in that young people that are at risk of getting involved in crime might be diverted away from those activities. And that is part of the role of a detached youth worker. And there's just a quote here that says, detached youth work involves making contact with young people in their own settings by going to meet them where they naturally congregate. So unlike a youth club where you would work with young people in a building where they would come in, they'd pay a sub to come in, they might engage in set activities, or they might engage in activities that have been arranged. Detached youth work happens on young people's terms. And that's quite different, because in a youth setting, we work with young people to set rules, and there are boundaries within the building. But working with young people in their setting invokes a whole kind of different set of rules and a different way of engaging with young people. We talked about some diversionary activities. There's a small picture there, if you can squint, that you might see, where we've done some street cleaning with young people, because young people say our areas, it's dirty, don't like the neighbourhood. So there's an opportunity there to work with young people to do some cleaning. But the overall aims of detached youth work is to engage, maintain and build professional relationships with young people. And there is an age range there, but that can go up to 25, especially when working with young people with special educational needs. But that emphasis within young people's setting. Increased participation in positive activities. Again, that links back to the diversionary activities that I mentioned earlier. And informally educate young people about risk-taking behaviour. So that might be around getting involved in crime, again, there's substance misuse, and there's been this whole thing around county lines and young people being recruited by gangs to traffic drugs. So it's about working with young people to understand those risks. Offer support around issues such as mental health, bullying, low self-esteem, healthy lifestyles, and relationships. So these kind of are all intertwined. They all work together around improving young people's positive outcomes around their health and their well-being. And you might signpost young people to other services. So one of the things that we do is we might carry around information that we might give to young people around sexual health services, support that they may get for mental health. We might signpost young people to pastoral services within their school. So it might be about supporting them. And again, promote activities and other services to young people in the local area. So there is this whole thing around signposting, but also an element of outreach within that.